Look at this. Drunk rain hollering at you with 3/4 of coherence in them. Turning off this video quick because a threat could come at any moment, and there's a light in my face, so that don't help. Our life is gonna be amazing. My life is gonna be amazing. I'm talking to you, Rain. That's me right now. Listen, you're never stopping this shit. It's gonna be 100% with it no matter what the fuck you do. We're gonna get this shit, bro. We're gonna get this shit like it's never been gotten before. We got our boys in network with us, and we're building it by the day. And we got zero fucking doubt in this confidence, baby. We love it and we love ourselves. And you love me and I love me. Stay with it, brother. Good evening, everybody. Or morning, afternoon, midnight, wherever you stay and whatever time you're watching this, it truly doesn't matter. First of all, day 2 of winning. I'll play a clip at the end explaining what I'm talking about, but essentially it's 4 non-negotiables and a few other things I have to stick by in order to win these days that I typically lose. It's 5 a.m. and my body low-key feels like shit. I didn't get my deep rest last night, but the only way I would really be able to gauge that is by getting up at the time I said I was gonna. So let's go. All right, so it's about 5:20. Time for cardio. 2.5 miles down on like 4 hours of sleep. Ain't no excuses, motherfuckers. You can get this shit done. Oh my God, I feel like shit. It's 8 a.m. I've been up for 3 hours already. Feeling pretty fucking good, getting to some deep work, about to join a coaching call. Y'all already know the deal. We're winning today, baby. No issues. My Google Calendar set up. Y'all already know the fucking deal, baby. Forgiveness is the frequency of God, along with being grateful. But I'd like to talk about forgiveness for a second. Fuck all the forgiveness shit. You need to clear that acne up and get that piece of apple off your face, you dumbass. Get conscious, boy. There's no reason you should hold resentment in your heart for anyone who has done you wrong in the past or didn't meet the proper standard which they were supposed to at the time. For example, your parents. The more resentment you hold in your heart for your parents, the more it manifests into negativity in your life. Inevitably. You hate your mom, you're gonna be a fuckboy. You hate your dad, you're gonna be a hoe. And if you hate your dad as a man, you're likely gonna be the polar opposite of him, not embodying any good qualities and therefore losing because you couldn't actualize as the full person you should have been. You can't hold resentment for these people, regardless of who they are. They're going through a human experience just like you, and even if they are the most vile, fucked up human being in history, what good is it gonna serve you to hate them? In my opinion, it's none. And I don't really just think that's opinion. I think hatred is of the heart. Anger is of the heart. And so is forgiveness. Which one are you going to choose? Today has been good. Today has been great. Lots of temptation thrown in front of my face, yet I've found the power within to say, fuck that. I know exactly what I want with these 21 days and for the future of my life, so it's time to take control and be able to discipline our minds, because unfortunately, no one took the time or effort to do that when we were little. I'm still young, living in a household with parental figures who don't necessarily get along too well. Lots of hostility within this environment many of the time. And a lot of the time that's hard to overcome, even for me. A lot of resentment that I hold in my heart for the experiences which these people have forced unto me as a young age. It brings back a lot of trigger, a lot of trauma, a lot of seeing things and hearing things which no kid should ever have to have heard. But in recent times, I find myself overcoming the resentment. In recent times, I find myself at better peace within, not being affected by the negativity of my outer circumstances. It's difficult to choose to walk away. It's difficult to say to yourself, this doesn't have anything to do with me, regardless of how far it escalates. It's extremely difficult. Why exert yourself in a situation which you have no control over? So overcoming that resentment has really helped me be able to show more love from my heart to these people. And when I'm around, they get to see that more because I'm not instantly triggered and affected by the negativity. I can keep the positivity in my mind, and it still emulates even when there's such evil surrounding. Over time, I've realized that any negative emotion I feel towards a situation comes from a place of judgment upon that situation. Judgment which I'm in no right place or position to give, because I'm not these people. I am not these outer circumstances. I'm just me. I wanted to share that little story because it's something that just occurred, and it happened while I was writing about resentment and forgiveness, actually. Quite ironic. I needed to add the personal touch because it's true and it's exactly what's happening right now. But I wrote a little something that I want to read off to you guys and share with you that's been really touching me recently, helping me in my journey to become a better person. Straight up. So, here that goes. In situation, I can only do what I'm limited and capable of. I can only do what I know to do throughout my life. Just like these other people and just like these other outer circumstances, I'm no different from them, regardless of how extreme it seems as though they take it. So how susceptible are you to negative emotion? Fear, anger, doubt, resentment. You suffer when you judge. Just because it affects you, it doesn't give you the right to judge it. What are you even judging? Someone else's life based on what you know yours to be? Their actions only reflect what they know too, man. What are you even judging? Their folly? Their ignorance? Like, what good is that going to serve you? I don't think it's any. In order to achieve success in this life, our surroundings must be in correspondence with the peace of our mind, the joy of our emotion, and the bliss of our energy. All buzzwords which really just reflect goodness upon those three different parts of us. To make our surroundings reflect our internal happiness, our internal feeling, we need cooperation. You can't just run away by yourself in the woods forever, man. Like, you're a human, man. You crave love, you crave compassion, you crave social interaction, you crave community. And success is measured in surrounding. It's measured in the external world. So even though you may consider finding inner peace and love within yourself a success, it's bound to reflect in the outside. Finding that peace within yourself is bound to reflect in the external. External reflects internal. So if you claim to have found that peace within yourself, yet nothing around you suffices, nothing around you equates to that, then personally, I'd question if what you've really just created is peace. I'm not done with this journey, and I really don't know many people who are. For some of us, it's lifelong. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'd love to spend the rest of this life creating peace. As a matter of fact, I think it is my journey. To circle back around, resentment is a form of judgment, and you suffer when you judge. Were you hurt by someone, like us all? Perhaps you gauge your suffering. Perhaps you gauge your circumstances to be worse than others, to be worse than mine, to be worse than your neighbors. Regardless, hate is a choice. The person who you hold this negative emotion, this grudge against, these negative thoughts for, did what they did based on what they knew. Just like you. It's an improvisation. Just like every moment of your life. You can't hate someone for their ignorance when it has nothing to do with you in the first place. How can you drink from a poison and expect someone else to die? Choosing to identify with the anger is like drinking from that poison. Like, what do you gain except heartache and sadness when you decide to be angry and when you decide to be negative? For some of us, it doesn't feel like a choice, but time heals, bro. And you must come to the realization within yourself that this person is not attached to your being, and neither is the actions which they've committed in the past, or the ones which you've committed in the past if you have a problem with self-forgiveness. The only thing that's here right now is the moment, and nothing's going to change that. Nothing that happened in the past or nothing that's going to happen in the future. So what do you expect to gain from drinking that poison except heartache and sadness? Like, except more negative emotion, more negative nature shed upon the situation. You feel an emotion from the heart and it takes over. So the emotion is from the heart. The negative emotion, the fear, the anger, the sadness. But on the other end of that, forgiveness is of the heart as well. So which one feels better? Most importantly, which one will you choose over time? All these bad fortunes bestowed upon you came from someone else's head, manifested from someone else. You're affected by these people in these circumstances since you're born. So it came from their head, but are you them? Are you going to identify with them and what they created? I understand it affected you, but it still came from something outside of you. You have the ability to overcome that. That is what we're here for. How can you expect any self-kindness whilst dishing it out to others? You get what you give. You receive what you put out. Karma. And that involves emotion, thought, and speech as well, brother. They didn't tell you that it mattered, but it does. Extremely. It all sends out an energy. It all aligns to a frequency. Forgiveness is the frequency of God. So, self-resentment is just as real. It's just as real too. And in the Bible it states, when we forgive, we free ourselves from the ties that bind us to the ones that hurt us. Anger, hate, resentment, all these fucking forms of attachment, something you have to let go of in order to reach the level you desire, in order to transcend. You believe your thoughts when you identify with them, and you act out what you believe every day. When you forgive yourself for past actions, when you forgive yourself for things which you've committed in the past that you no longer wish to identify with, a light then gets shed upon the darkness of your imagination. I mean, where else do all these negative emotions come from? They're not right in front of you. You're thinking them up. So they take place in our imagination. And typically we imagine the worst. A lot of the times the worst is all we've been shown, but this material world is of the devil. So I don't know why you expected anything different. But unfortunately, the majority of these thoughts are caused by our outer circumstances in the material world ran by the devil. Like, we were put here to overcome these restraints and chains put on us. Like, they literally killed Jesus, bro. Did you expect it to be all sweet here, man? I sure didn't. I mean, you can hope, but life will make you suffer. It's what you make of it that counts. You become binded to these thoughts at forefront, the ones you know as familiar. Many of us look at these thoughts as you because we're so familiar with them. The hardest thing for a human to do is confront the lie which they're living. To strip down the self they claim and identify with, no matter how trauma-filled, evil-ridden anxiety perpetuated. This self is familiar, and it's hard to let go of. for all of us. The death of the ego is a scary place for many. This is why psychedelics are feared amongst normies. They would not be able to handle the death of the ego because it's all they've known their life to be and built it upon. But if I let go of who I know myself to be, then who am I? There's a natural flow and rhythm of your life which you're interfering with when you identify with the outer circumstance. What do I have without that interference? Well, to that I say, what do you have with it? What have the thoughts? What have these things served you? I mean, you can obviously love people around you and you can build identity based on that, but love is God. Love is goodness. When you identify with the opposite, which most of us tend to do, you're soaking in evil, man. You're letting the demons win. Being fueled by the power of your negative emotions is false and evil. Anger is a negative emotion. Being fueled by anger is false and evil, just like most of the things around you. Do you have trouble questioning if things around you are actually evil? Bro, The Sound of Freedom literally came out this year and it's real as fuck. Epstein Island, real as fuck. People at the top who worship Satan, real as fuck. So we're not going to act like these things don't fucking exist and that the devil doesn't control the highest sectors of man on this fucking plane of reality. Love and forgiveness are powerful too, but actually, they hold true power. Both sides of this coin come from the heart. Observe, discern, and choose which one you're gonna roll with, man. And I guarantee you that the second option of the two listed will equate to a much happier life, a fulfilled life, with no negativity to cling onto. You have to learn to love. You have to learn to forgive. Forgiveness is the frequency of God. You will have God in your heart when you learn to forgive. If you're missing Him, ask yourself who you haven't forgiven. And go do that. And if it's yourself, realize that there is goodness in this moment, and you can be a part of that. And you can do that for the rest of your life. You're no longer that person who committed those mistakes, who committed those actions. You're who you are right now, the person who learned. Continue to learn, grow, evolve, and win the war in your mind. Coming next, footage from your boy hitting that killer arm day. Feel free to skip through it, but you're going to want to check that pump at the end. And I'm completely aware that those are half-rep push-ups. While I train fighting, I need to get some explosivity on my punches, all right? Don't come at me. I don't even know if explosivity a word, but if it ain't, we just fucking made it up. Because we do what we want out here. Dude, this shit is making me go fucking Super Saiyan, man. Even though I have no hair, think of me as like a Piccolo type beat, you know what I'm saying?
Finally, I found it.
Coming to an end of day 2 of 21 days. We haven't smoked. We got up at the proper time. We worked on our brand. We meditated. We did all our non-negotiables. And I'm pretty sure I met and sufficed to every other thing on here today. I'm very proud of that. But this is just the beginning, and I'm susceptible to fail just like any of the rest of you. So we're not going to be too proud right now. We're going to keep going and keep our head up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, I'm going to put a photo of the protocol at the end of the video, but we're here to conquer, and we're here to prove to others that they can do the same. And that all starts with the calm courage of our own mind. Stay up, boys, ladies too. Fulfill the role which you were given. And the earth is fucking flat.
Well, it is what it is because he is who he is. That's why it is what it is.